Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have here some statements made by a Ukrainian official, and if we were to apply the statements to another country, Ukraine will cease to exist in a second. But this is what I was talking about many times. It's the lack of self-awareness. I don't, and the inability to put yourself in the other person's shoes or to see the situation, the circumstances from an objective angle. So let's get into this article, which comes from an Ukrainian mass media outlet, which is the New Voice of Ukraine. And we have here this gentleman saying, Mikhailo Podolyak. He says that Ukraine has every right to liberate its territory using any kind of weapon. So, using any kind of weapon, they have the right to liberate its territories. So whatever Ukraine considers as being its territory, they have any right to liberate it. All right? The official says, and I'm quoting here, "Let me remind you the basics. Crimea is not a part of Russia, same as Donetsk or Kherson," he tweeted. Well, that's your interpretation. There are some people who contest that. As you would contest, the Russians claim that actually the Crimea and Donetsk and Kherson are not actually part of Ukraine. So you see, it's a matter of perspective here, the angle. So I'm going further and read what this guy said. He says that Zaporozhye nuclear power plant is not Russian facility. Now it is. But a Ukrainian nuclear power plant, the Russian Federation is an invader and a murderer that started the war. That's again debatable. Ukraine has all the right to liberate its territories using any kind of weapon. That means if we get the atomic bomb, we have the right to use it to liberate. Okay, I think it's very straightforward and it's nothing, hanky-panky or... But let's say right now Crimea is part of Russia. However you want to take it, it's part of Russia, part of Russian territory. Let's say tomorrow Donetsk, Luhansk will be part of Russia. Let's ignore maybe these two. Let's keep it with Crimea, which Russia has obviously, claims about that peninsula, historically speaking. But if we go like that, we're going to go to the Greeks, and then all that belongs to the Greeks. So everybody out is Greeks, because as far as we know, they were the first ones going over there and blah blah blah, right? Populating it and so on. And it's a lot of areas where the Greeks were first, and we don't know who was before them. Or let's get out the Italians, because we have the Etruscans, and we get out the Franks, right, from France, because it was not the Franks first over there. So you see, we can kick out, or you can get the Germans out from Germany, because it was not the Germans first over there. So how far do we go, how back? So let's go back to this. So this is Crimea, part of Russia. Russia claims, as Ukraine claims, those are its territories. Now they have the right to liberate. Okay, let's say tomorrow Ukraine succeeds in liberating Crimea. Now, could the Russians who claim Crimea is theirs, their territory, could they claim the same way? By all means necessary. Malcolm X said, I can use any kind of weapon to liberate my territories. They have nuclear weapons, so they should use that based on this guy's logic. Because if Russia claims Crimea is theirs, and somehow Ukraine gets its claw on the Crimea, then obviously Russia needs to liberate it. And then it's going to be Putin and Lavrov and Peskov and Shoigu and Zakharova saying this. Russia has every right to liberate Crimea using any kind of weapon. Hey, nuclear weapon right now. You see how it goes? So if it's a matter of perception, what's yours today was someone else's maybe yesterday, and someone else's the day before. So Crimea was given to Ukraine. Like for instance, we have Chisinau, or northern part of Romania, or the southern part of Ukraine, was given to them by Stalin, taken by Stalin through an ultimatum from the weasels Romanians, right, in between the wars, before the Second World War started, and said, that's ours, because I said so. This is Soviet Union's. And he got it and gave it to the Soviet Republic, Socialist Republic of Ukraine. That's what that part, which is called Bukovina, was given to Ukraine. I mean, if we go back, Ukrainians were not there when the Romanians were there. So it was obviously Romanians. Oh, we go to Dacians? All right, we go to Dacians. Dacians were before the Ukrainians. So what are you doing on that territory? So see, if you go back enough, we can claim many, many things. Like for instance, here in the United States, we say, well, the Native Americans. Well, these are not Native Americans because they came from somewhere too. So they are Indian Americans, crossed the Bering Strait and came here. They are as native as my children are native because they were born here, from here. They don't know any other house. I'm different. I came from somewhere else. I'm native from Romania, from Transylvania. Okay, but my children are native from here. So they have the same right as the other ones, right? Moreover, because they were born here, but those came. So if you go about that with who was first, then what are we going to do? We're going to have a mess on our hands. Who was first in Middle East? Who was first in there? Who was first over there? So everybody go back home. What's home? You see, that's very, very stupid to look at things like this. But in the case of Crimea, for instance, just take it as now is mine, tomorrow is yours, now is mine, tomorrow is yours. So Russian says it's ours, Ukrainian says that's theirs. And judging by these guys' lack of logic, they can use whatever weapon to liberate what they think is theirs. Therefore, it gives the other side the right to liberate whatever, with using any kind of weapon of whatever they think is theirs. Otherwise, it's very unjust. Because they claim Crimea is theirs, these guys claim Crimea is theirs. So who's Crimea? So what are going to do with Crimea? The reality is it's a majority Russians. They voted, referendum. What do you want to do now? You want to take something that's not yours? It's like you take people that will hate you. Where do you want to take them back? Are you going to exterminate them? Are you going to send them to Russia? I mean, why would they want to be with you after all that happened in Donetsk and Luhansk? From 2014 on. So when you say, well, the Russians started the war, really? I think the war started in 2008 with the NATO. Yeah, it's a possibility Ukraine might join NATO one day. Bong, the Russians are what? Loaded, get ready. We're going to start, I don't know when, but get ready, man. We're going to do it. That's how it was, 2008. And 2014, what was that? Overthrow. And then they attacked these guys in the east and so on. So because they said we don't recognize the new guys who took over violently and overthrew the legitimate government, democratically elected, with the help of outsiders, the same sponsors that today tell us that sovereignty, we should respect sovereignty, and no, democracy and freedom, and yeah. Thank you very much. Whoop, took. That's what sounds for me when these guys are talking about that kind of things, when they did what they did in 2014 with Victoria Nuland. Remember that name. Maybe you're very familiar with her. Or Newlander, whatever you want to call her. Because she's a Zelensky. Yes, I said it. Just check her out. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.